What's going on, everybody? It's Rick from Worms with Rick. Here's the VermiHut Plus. It's actually been 3 weeks since the last feeding, so we'll check this out. And I have a surprise. I want to go ahead and on the lid, basically my coconut coir mat is completely been eaten, so I have a new piece to install. So I wanted to bring you along and show you that. So I don't know if you're seeing these white bits, but that was the roots and the perlite from the winter rye, which looks like that has pretty much all been consumed, which is awesome. A couple avocado pieces of the shell. A tiny little worm ball in there. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, the worms are doing a great job. And I'm perfectly okay with stuff like this being in the worm bin. The perlite, that's going to help with some aeration in the bin, not allow the castings to get super compacted, because that'll allow a little bit of aeration. Well, I will be adding a bunch of castings to this, so what I'm going to do is pop that lid off and see what's going on, get the new coconut coir mat installed, and then add the castings right back to the feeding zone. The large bits of the avocado pits right here. So I should have grabbed a small screwdriver, and that's what I'm going to do right now. This screwdriver is probably older than me, and it's been used for digging out cracks in the driveway, so this is perfect for this. Just need to get, there we go. So with this lid, we have this plastic cover, and then there's these little green tabs that keep the lid in place that I need to get this plastic around. So okay, there we go. So that is all that is left of that coconut coir mat. So I'm just gonna scrape these guys into the lid for right now. Okay. So you can see there's some worms in here. I'm just going to add this right to the feeding area and then show you what I'm going to be adding back into this lid. And there's a real little worm. So I picked up this coconut coir mat. So I'm going to actually cut a few pieces and leave it in here. And wipe some of these castings off. I was figuring at least 2 or 3 pieces should work. Okay. I'm trying to think. Maybe when I was doing it, I thought 3 pieces would be good in here, so I'll cut one more. Okay, very happy with that. This little tab is going to go on the inside so it can put a little pressure onto that coconut coir mats. Now it's just a matter of tucking this piece of plastic underneath these tabs. Okay, there's that. So I got those sides done. I got one piece here, so I'll try to get this side. I use the screwdriver to help pry it right on the side. Do the same thing here. Very pleased with how that went. I'm going to transfer my avocado shells back into the feeding area. Okay, so I do have some bedding that I want to add. That's definitely going in dry because there's plenty of moisture from those castings that I added from the lid. And then this feeding is going to be a little wet as well. So there's some of those juices. Okay, so finally, the last of the peels and the cucumber pieces, and they're going to get an apple. So we'll see kind of how they handle that feeding. In between the castings on this hand and the juices on the other hand, I had to wipe that off. I'm going to add a little bit of azomite powder. Basically like a limestone rock dust that has a bunch of minerals in it that'll help the castings out. And I like to add ground up eggshell for a grit for the worms. Both of these are good for the worms because they don't have teeth. They have a crop and a gizzard, so as they take small bites of the food scraps and get some of that grit, that rubs in their gizzard and crop to actually help break down and digest their food. Yeah, that top area was very moist. So in a way, coming down here and having the worms work it over, it may actually give it a chance to dry out a bit. To the top, as the worms wait for that food to start breaking down with the microbes from the bin, I like to add a little worm chow to the top. And this just consists of pulverized oats, flour, cornmeal, and a little pulverized eggshell. So the food scraps will take a few days to kind of start breaking down and letting the microbes get in there to help break them down. This is available for the worms instantaneously. As soon as they come up, they can start nibbling on that and they'll have no problem breaking that down and getting some nutrients as they wait to get into that feeding zone. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to drop it down in the comments. Thanks for coming along, checking out this Worm Wednesday video. Everybody have a great day.